Simon, this week we head to Newcastle for the Championship opener. First of all, are you happy to be going into that game off the back of 2 wins?
Yeah, of course. I mean, winning breeds confidence, and it gets our momentum going. So yeah, and 2 decent performances. So we're in a pretty good place going into the first league game. But that's different now. Cup competitions is a different mindset and mentality. This is the league where you want to start well.
You mentioned that you want perfection from your performances, and that there were a few things that you want the team to work on and areas for improvement. Is it, a good trait that you're still getting those wins despite you needing to improve in some areas?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm looking for a perfect performance, but we're not going to get that at this stage. We're still doing a lot of good things, which the players are aware of, and you can clearly see, watching it, that we're doing a lot of good things. We're just not quite there yet. That'll take time, and I'm sure as each game progresses, you'll start to see us put longer, polished performances together over minutes. Instead of it being chunks of not so good and chunks of really good. So, but yeah, we're still winning, and I think defensively we look pretty good. We've only conceded, I think, 2 tries maybe, so 3 possibly. So defensively we're working really hard, and we're trying to stop teams scoring. And I mean, the last thing that will come is our attack, because it's such a hard thing to get right when you haven't done it for so long. So I'm pretty pleased where we're at.
And Newcastle have obviously recruited well for their step up to this division. How tough of a game are you going to expect this weekend? Really
tough. I think the games I've seen them play, they've got some really good individual players and a lot of experience in Championship and Super League. So you can see again in patches they look really sharp. I know the last 20 minutes against Swinton, I think they scored 20 unanswered points, and they were unlucky with some of the chances they missed earlier on in the game. So we know what type of threat they're going to be, and they're clearly a team that are looking, at the top end of the table to where they're going to finish. They're not a League One team that's come up and are going to be at the bottom struggling. They want to be up there near the playoffs, and they're taking their time to put things together. But they're a really dangerous team if we're not ready for them.
Obviously they've had a week off, pretty much had 2 weeks to prepare for this one game. So do you see that as a bit of an advantage, or is it more of an advantage to us having that continuity of games so early in the season?
It's a difficult one. I think probably because where we're at in terms of not playing for so long, probably gives them a slight advantage. Playing a couple of games back to back, and your aches and bruises that you're not so used to because we haven't played for so long, gives them a week to refresh and work on the training field. But we've had 2 games now back to back, so we're a little bit more probably battle hardened. But it's a real difficult one at this start of the season because it's not a normal season. So I'm not too sure playing week to week is the best thing for everyone at the moment. But it's too hard to tell who's got the advantage in that at the moment.
There's a lot of personal ties between the 2 clubs, obviously including yourself. Do you think that adds any extra weight to the game, or will it not have much of an effect in your eyes?
I don't think it'll have an effect. I mean, most of the ties and the connections are between myself and the staff and different things like that. And clearly we're not the ones that go on the field and do anything to contribute to that. So, it's every game's got a connection, and I think because I was there so recently, that adds to that dynamic. But once they start playing, they want to win, we want to win. There's no difference who we play each week. It's just another game we're all trying to get 2 points from.
And Darrow's come in on loan from Warrington Wolves. How big of an addition is he going to be to your forward pack?
He'll be massive. I mean, I've been watching him for a good while now. I know the ability that he brings, and he's a unique character in some things that he can add that not everyone's got. He's a really good rugby player, and we're looking forward to seeing what he can produce on the weekend. He come in on Wednesday and he was really good, and we were really impressed with how he trained and his attitude, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes on Sunday. Like I said previously, it's difficult because the season, it's so unique, and playing back to back, we're gonna need some help along the way, and we've got such a good relationship with Warrington, and some of their players there that want to come and rip in for us will be really helpful, and add to our squad.
Jack Owens signed a new 3-year deal yesterday as well. How big is that news for you, especially how important he is to the team?
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, he's still only 26, which is remarkable in itself. That he feels like he's been around forever, and he's still not reached his potential of how good he can be. So it's clearly a huge statement for our club that we keep one of our core members and part of the spine, as we call it, that's here for the next 3 years. And you only look at the other day, he's added to the top 10 list of Widnes point scorers, which again is a remarkable feat for someone his age and the names that are on that list. So yeah, it's a big statement from the club, and it also, for me personally, it helps because again he's a quality player, and he's going to be alongside us for the next 3 years, which adds huge amounts to me and also to the rest of the squad.
And just on a final note, there's some names missing from the squads so far this season. Can you just give us an update on some of the injured players?
Yeah, I mean, well, we know with Logan, he's got a troublesome foot that's it's ongoing, so that we won't see him for a couple of months or a few months. But that's unfortunate because it's one of them things that happens in pre-season. You just can't, as much as you plan and do all these things, that these things happen, and you just got to adapt and move on. So he's probably the worst out of the bunch that we've got at the moment in terms of time away from the field, and we've got a few other niggles that again we're going to pick up because it's too we've not played for so long. We've got Lee Jewett, who's not too far away. We'll probably see him soon. Jaden Hatton, again, he's probably touch and go. He could have played possibly this weekend, but we've got to make sure he's quite right, so when we put him back in, we don't drop him out straight away. And then obviously Callum, who we know, we've seen from West Wales, who took a pretty nasty knock, we've seen him on Wednesday, which is pleasing. We've not seen him out on the training field, even though he wasn't training, he was just watching since the incident. So that's pleasing that he's back amongst the lads again, but he's still probably a few weeks off. So we're in a pretty decent spot where we could be a lot worse, and we're not too bad. We've got some bodies coming back very soon.